Hello and welcome to another episode of Art's Workshop, where today we are working on the top of the dining table build, the farmhouse dining table. And you'll recall that this is all walnut. This is walnut. Actually, this is a walnut veneer. You probably can't see it here, but very thin layer of solid walnut on a 3/4 inch piece of plywood. And I really don't think you can see this, but this is actually 2 layers of 3/4 inch plywood that have been glued together, and stapled together. What's going to be happening is putting this edge, this solid walnut edge, on the table, like so. Let's see, like that. Yeah, like that. So the purpose is to make it appear to be a solid walnut table and to be very, very strong. That's important. But the beauty of the plywood is it's extremely stable. It doesn't expand and contract with changes in temperature and humidity. That's what hardwoods do. So if this table was made out of solid hardwood, there would be a lot of expansion and contraction going on, and therefore we'd get cracking, or at least the possibility of cracking. You can manage for that, but it's so much easier to work with a very stable surface like plywood. And this is going to be a table for a family, an active family, and so this table will get used a lot. At least that's my hope. So this table top will be almost 4 feet, 44 inches wide, and length it's almost 8 feet, 7 foot 8 inches long at the finished edges. Obviously the plywood is a little bit less. This is my check piece. Make sure all of my angles are 45, so perfectly 45. And I've already fit the hardwood to the top, so made sure all of the miter cuts were right on the money. The next step will be to connect the hardwood to the table, and what I'm going to be using are these biscuits. What they are is compressed wood. They're about less than a little more than a 1/4 inch. I think no, a little more than 1/8 of an inch, a little less than a 1/4, whatever that is, some 16th. I have the blade here, which is exactly the dimensions of the biscuit, which looks like a football. And what's going to be happening is I'll take this tool and route into the hardwood and into the edge of the table. I'll route a groove into it, and then this will slide into it and lock in. What I've already done, and I've got some time lapse that I'll show you next, I've already made sure that I've dressed this. I've already made sure it was dead straight. First it was run through a table saw to get to rough dimension, and then using a router and a straight edge made all these edges perfectly straight, and of course this is already perfectly straight, so it'll line up when it's clamped with no gap. That's what's next. So how I'm going to do this, how I'm going to attach this, I've already explained the biscuits, is I'm going to make this hardwood stand a little bit proud of this surface. You can't sand into this very much because it's so thin. So I'm going to make the hardwood edge stand just a little bit proud, and then I'll work down, I'll sand down to a perfectly smooth finish. That's the goal. This is the scary part for me. All right, let's get started. Okay, so did the table top, the plywood piece, and took the bit out of the router and put it in the shaper. You see these marks here. They are on the top side, but I can only see the bottom side because of the way this table works. The idea will be to cut the grooves into the face here with this tool. So let's get started. Okay, next part is to glue the table top to the hardwood edges with the footballs in between, the biscuits. Okay, so this is dried, and it's time to take the clamps off, or as the millennials say, it's the unboxing video. All right, so there we have it. Pretty good, actually. Needs some sanding. There's somewhere between an 1/8 and a 1/16 of a proud edge here, which I think I can work on with a sander. So I'll get started on that next. So what I'm doing now is I made these angle iron brackets, which are going to be mounted on the underside of the table to tie the table top to the base. And they'll be bolted through the brackets with 1/4-inch bolts like that. And the holes are 1/2-inch holes, so there'll be some movement permitted. Of course, there'll be a washer on this. But what I'm going to use is these little trick things here. I don't know what they're called. Threaded connector. Yeah, whatever. So it's sort of like a wood screw with a 1/4-inch machine threading on the inside of it that I can drill a hole and screw it in. Of course, it'll be on this side. So I'll do that now. Quick shot here. We've got the brackets, angle iron to connect the base to the top. We've got all of those bolted in there with 1/4-inch bolts. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 brackets. One right there. 6 brackets, 24 bolts in total. Pretty darn strong connected there. I've also gotten these corners rounded over. The next step will be to round the edge. Going to do the back side or the underside first, and flip the table over and start working on the final top. All right, got the underside worked. This edge here is rounded over the corners. Now it's time to do the round over on this edge. You can tell it's a very comfortable table. This is exciting because the table is finished. It's not finished in the sense that it doesn't have any finish on it yet, but all of the woodworking is done. So I'm excited about that. I can finally put away all my woodworking tools and make the shop ready to become a finish space, a place to spray on finish. Now I'm going to spray it, which means I'll have to tarp a lot of things and it'll get messy, but the finished product will be hopefully very nice. So this is what it looks like. Like I was saying, it is a large table, large enough for 8 people, maybe 10 or 12 comfortably. 10 people comfortably, 12 people, they better like each other. But importantly, the table is done, and I'm excited about that. And I really like the way the edge and the veneer came together. I think this looks really good. We'll see how it looks with the finish, but as I like to think of, I can't make it any better. I can only screw it up at this point from putting the finish on, so hopefully I won't do that. I'll do some time lapse of the prep work and the finish work, but it's so messy that I don't want to get my camera in there. So I hope you understand. I'll do my best and finish up this video. Thanks a lot. Welcome to another episode of Art's Workshop Plastic Edition. Yeah, that's a whole bunch of plastic you see to protect the rest of the shop from overspray. And there's the first coat of varnish on the stretchers, and the legs, and the top. So what I'll be doing next is sanding off a lot of that first coat to get an even smoother finish, and then spraying another coat on. Do some time lapse on that. Alright, so I've sanded the pieces here. A little more than an hour's worth of sanding time. I didn't want to bore everyone with that. But the next step is to, I've already blown it off with compressed air. Then the next step is to wipe it with this stuff. It's an automotive refinisher, but it works really well to clean any kind of surface. So keep in mind, I have to do this a total of 3 times. This is number 2, so I've got one more to do. After I get done with the cleaning, then it's time to spray the next coat of polyurethane, and then it'll be sanded again, clean it again, and then spray it one last time. I hope it's the last. So this is this process. Messy. Essentially get the cloth nice and wet, or the towel nice and wet. And wipe it off. That gives you a pretty good idea of what it'll look like finished. It'll be a little bit darker than that. But that is the look of the wood with the varnish on it. It'll get a little bit darker from the finish. But so that's what I'm doing now. I'm not going to film this whole process. It's just not that exciting. Thanks.